Hello my dark and beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. I am the City Witch and today we're taking a look at Werewolf Pack Magic, a Shapeshifter's Book of Shadows by Denny Sargent. So you may remember that I recently reviewed his first book. This one was called Werewolf Magic, Authentic Practical Lycanthropy. And this one was all about connecting with the beast within, unleashing your inner wolf, trusting your instincts, learning to shapeshift, call forth a werewolf fetch, learn about the spirit double, and connect with the werewolf through trance, esoteric practices, ritual, and spell work. This was a truly inspirational, amazing book, and I highly recommend it. And even if you're not interested in learning werewolf magic, this book is worth its weight in gold for the shape-shifting techniques and exercises alone. So if that's something that interests you, definitely check out my first review for this book, and I will link that in the video. And if you are interested in learning about werewolves, about wolf energy and shape-shifting into other animals, this is a great foundational book for that as well, guys. So I hope you enjoy it. So this one is Denny's second book. This one was written because he had a lot of people wanting to work werewolf magic, but as a group, you know, not on your own as an individual, as a solitary lone wolf. There were people crying out for connecting with each other as a pack and forming tribes of their own. So this book was forged as a result. Now, before I deep dive into this book, I just want to let you know how I conduct my book reviews. So first of all, I will read the back of the book, I will show you the contents list, and then I will give you a flip through of the book, giving you a rough idea of what's contained within. I will tell you about the pros and cons that I personally noticed about the book and score it from 1 to 10 at the end and let you know if it made it into my magical library or not. So let's begin by reading the back of the book, and this will introduce us to what this book is all about. Run with your pack and unleash your power with joy and wildness. Beyond werewolf magic, this lycanthropic book of shadows unites you with your spiritual kin and invites them to join in rituals, romps, and spells that call on the feral magic within and about you. Denny Sargent teaches you ecstatic shape-shifting experiences, newly revived from ancient traditions and designed to free you from the restrictive chains of civilization. With your pack, you will return to your true home in the heart of Mother Nature. Werewolf Pack Magic offers a wide variety of activities, including pack initiations, shape-shifting training, werewolf divination, pack Sabbath celebrations, and ancient werewolf festivals. With step-by-step guidance, Denny reveals that pack magic is intense, powerful, wildly fun, and effective. Now is the time to honour and reconnect with nature and your werewolf brothers and sisters in the wildness. So there we go. Let's take a look at the contents list in the book. So the first thing you get in this book is a list of activities, rituals, spells, and rites. That is something that I actually appreciated in his first book, and I actually wish more occult books would do that. That list offers you lots of insight into where you can find certain spells and rituals and rites within the book, and it'll help you track them down at a later date should you wish to perform them time and time again. And it means you don't have to put loads and loads of sticky notes in your book as well, which is also nice. Then we have a preface and an introduction. The introduction is a story all about how Denny was talking about his first book and how he was kind of introducing it, and then he suddenly asked the group, would anyone like to do a werewolf ritual? And the crowd was like, yeah, absolutely. So he ended up leading a massive group ritual of, you know, probably a room of a few hundred people in a werewolf rite, and the response he received from it was phenomenal. So he started connecting with people online and social media. I do believe he actually has a Facebook group you can go on as well to help you find people in your local area that want to connect with others who also practice werewolf magic. So he realized there was a calling for people to connect and form their own packs and groups that practice werewolf magic. So this book was forged from from that desire, and he really wanted to help people connect and give them a foundation for creating their pack, and what they might not realize needs to be included or considered is placed within this book to help you with that. So that's how this book came to be. If you enjoyed his first book and you connected very deeply with Werewolf Magic and you're thinking, I would love to practice this with other people, this very well might be the book for you. But as a neutral point, this book is all about working werewolf magic in a group or pack setting. So many of the rites and exercises are meant to be performed with other people, not on your own. So this isn't very good for a solitary practitioner. However, Denny has made all of the rituals in this book as adaptable as possible for those who don't yet have a group or don't want to work in a group, and you still want to work werewolf magic and further your practice from his first book and going into this one, because there are some new ideas and concepts in this book as well. Then we have our chapters, and we have 7 in total in this book. Chapter 1, Werewolf Magic Review and Expansion. So this is all about reviewing his first book and expanding upon the ideas and concepts. Chapter 2, Structure and Dynamics of a Werewolf Magic Pack. So this is how to structure and design your pack and consider the dynamics of the individuals in the pack, giving everyone a job, a responsibility, a status, and navigating the emotions and politics of other people. Chapter 3, Pack Bonding Practices and Rites. So these are fun activities and things you can do in a group to help you bond with other people, help everyone fit in, to forge relationships with the people around you, and to get comfortable with each other. Chapter 4, Reoccurring pack rites and rituals, so things that you're going to do over and over again. So this is things like a birthing ceremony for when someone has a baby, a mating ceremony for when someone wants to get married or be bonded to another werewolf in the group, death rites for when you lose a pack member, and ceremonies to say goodbye if someone just simply wants to leave the pack and move on with their life. So there are various different rites and rituals that you may perform over and over again in the future if you have a pack, and they are provided for you in this book. Chapter 5, Pack Rites and Rituals of Transformation. So these are spells and rituals and rites for transitioning from one thing to another, for learning how to shapeshift in a group setting and learning to trust each other, and then go a step further with that and connect on the astral, connect with the etheric body, and feel and sense other people's energies around you. So it's really getting into the pack energy dynamic. Chapter 6, Pack Magic for Protection, Healing and Purification. So these are spells that you can perform, rituals you can do, and ceremonies as a pack. And then we have Chapter 7, Public Pack Werewolf Events. So this is if you want to practice things like Lupercalia or a marriage in a public location, how to go about that, the right kind of people you might have to get in touch with to ask permission, and obviously conducting yourself in a certain way and protecting your space from people who, you know, may not appreciate what you're doing, may not understand it, and may take criticism or offense to it. So it's kind of navigating that public setting a little bit. Then we have a conclusion to the book, and then we have a couple of appendices at the back. So the first one is often repeated rites and referenced items. So these are items that you may need in your practice, certain titles and words and terminologies he uses. He's kind of giving you a list of those and explains them. Then we have expanded werewolf magic symbols and the oracle. So in his first book, he actually provides a list of symbols and sigils that are used for werewolf magic. Here he expands upon that, includes some extra symbols, and then he helps you create a werewolf oracle if that's something that you find interesting. So going into the book, we have our list of activities, rituals, spells and rites, so you can easily locate them at a later date. We have our preface and introduction. From there, we go into Werewolf Magic, Renew and Expansion. So here he talks about what werewolf pack magic is not. So he debunks a few things and tells you straight away there's certain things that you just won't find in this book and why. Werewolf magic during a time of a pandemic. So obviously this was written during COVID. Review of key points and practices of werewolf magic. gods and spirits of the pack, tools of the pack and which tools you might need for ritual use, the use of bodily fluids in werewolf magic. Then we've got a recommendation on herbs, gems, minerals and other natural items, core principles to follow. So the main core principles is wildness, weird, and the way, and your instincts. And all of those are discussed in the first book, but expanded upon here as a pack mentality. Then we've got intuition and insight, the animal self, and shape-shifting. So all these things are discussed and you're kind of prepared for them, because in the first book you were doing them alone, privately. Here you're going to be doing them alongside other people. So you're going to be more exposed, more vulnerable, and people are going to see aspects of yourself that you may not be ready to share. So this is about kind of preparing you emotionally and mentally for that. Then there's a topic on the spirit double and the etheric body. There is a bit of a chat about the fetch as well, and pack shape-shifting. So rituals, practices and spells expanded upon for pack use. There is the creation of talismans and how to activate your talisman. Expanded fetch work. So in the first book you are introduced to the fetch and how you summon and call a werewolf fetch. Here he expands upon that in this book and how to do that as a group and have a fetch that is connected to the pack. Adapting these werewolf magic practices for your pack werewolf lingo. So one of the most interesting things in his first book was learning how to talk and behave like a wolf. And when I say talk, I mean howl, yip, snarl, bark, you know, do all the noises that a wolf would normally make. And yes, you feel absolutely ridiculous doing it, but you have a great time doing it as well. So here he expands upon how that's going to work when you're with other people, because in his first book he makes it very clear that the reason you're learning these techniques is because when you are shape-shifting into a werewolf, you shouldn't be using your normal human vocal cords at that point. You should be acting, talking, thinking, behaving like a wolf, or, you know, more specifically a werewolf. So he doesn't want you talking to the person next to you. He doesn't want you communicating like a human. He wants you getting really into the head and the energy of the wolf, and instead barking and growling and yipping and snarling and howling at each other. So here he teaches you how to do that and communicate effectively in a pack. So the pack lingo, forms of werewolf lingo, the different ways it might sound or come across, and the different experiences you might have. And then there are extra things that he gives you here. So in his first book, he talks about various deities. So we have Mother Earth, which is Gaia. He gives you a sound for Gaia that will help other people know you're talking about Gaia. So for that is Ma. So Ma, Ma, Ma. And then for the Lord of the Forest, it's Ha. So you could go ha, 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 or you could go ha. For Hecate, or any of the goddesses of the moon, so Artemis, Selene, Hecate, is ah, ah, ah. And then for the great wolf spirit, it's Ra, Ra, Ra. And then for the werewolf Gnosis, we have aha, aha, aha. So I know it sounds strange, but you will kind of get the gist of it as you go along, guys. Then we go into chapter 2, structure and dynamic of a werewolf pack. So this is kind of like how to create and develop your personal pack. So say you've got 3 or more people that say, yes, I want to be in a werewolf pack, let's do this. This is about structuring your pack, choosing who the alpha is going to be, organising and enforcing customs and rights, rules, respecting each other, interacting with each other, sexual activity and relationships within the pack and how to navigate those, custom pack items and tools, who pays for that, where are they going to live, how are they going to be maintained, can anybody use them, or can they only be used as a group? So here we have a list of ritual items and tools and how you might want to navigate that and use them. Pack socialization and customs. Then we've got gestures and actions that are acceptable. We've got rites and spell work within a pack, where you might want that to take place. So in a wild location or maybe a hall. Items you can make to mark out your sacred space, making it easy for others to find you if you're out in the wilderness somewhere. So finding a sacred grove, blessing the sacred grove, making it your den where the pack meets. Then we've got bonding activities in chapter 3. So werewolf pack rumbles. So this is like play and having fun with each other, doing activities. Werewolf magic god chants. So again, that goes to the Lord of the Forest, the Earth Mother, the Great Spirit, and connecting with the moon goddesses. Then we've got werewolf games and activities. We've got night stalking. We've got werewolf tag of war. We've got get the bone. We've got hunt the prey, hide and seek. There are loads of fun activities you can try. And honestly, if you have kids, some of these things would be really fun to do with your kids. Obviously, anything that's too adultish, maybe adapt and change. But a lot of these, like playing tag, you know, hiding something in your gardens, they have to search for it. That would be quite fun activities for an afternoon in the sun. Then we've got the werewolf pack oracle, so creating your oracle and what you're going to be doing with that. So this is divination as a pack when you do use that oracle. Werewolf astral projection as a pack. Pack senses and skill enhancement. Then we've got using your 5 senses, so touch, smell, sight, taste and sound. Werewolf pack magic skills and empowerment exercises. So all of these things are things that you're doing with a group of people. However, you may find a lot of it is adaptable for working solitary magic if you so chose. One of the things that I personally did with this book was I didn't have a pack to work with, and my friend still hadn't read this book yet, so I couldn't do a lot of stuff with her. But because I've been a practicing witch for a really long time, and I'd been practicing animal magic for even longer, and on top of that, I already am the wolf. My sacred animal is the wolf. I discovered that when I was quite young, around 11 years old. So I have a really deep bond with my wolf, and as a result I have an astral pack of wolves that I connect with when I visit my inner sanctorum. So a lot of these rituals and rites I actually did with my astral pack rather than a physical pack of people. So there are ways to adapt. If you work with animals, you could maybe refer to them as your pack and summon different animal spirits to work with in a pack setting. You could refer to your spirit team as a pack as well and work with them and see how they come through. See if they're willing to shapeshift into a wolf form as well, because you might find that they will reveal themselves going forward as that wolf the more you work with them. I'm pretty sure Hecate would do that by becoming some kind of a black dog. Then we go into maintaining shrines and performing rituals at your shrine in a group setting. We've got egregores of the pack and fetch work. Then we've got rites and rituals. So with the rites and rituals, these are things like, you know, sabbats and ceremonies, seasonal changes that you might want to honour. We've got the astral temple and how to connect as a group to that and have a group experience with that, which was, you know, really interesting. Pack scrying and how that would work. Then you've got rites of transformation. So here we've got welcoming a new member into the pack, werewolf initiation. We've got the ritual of mating, birth and death. So how to conduct a mating ritual if two people want to get married and be mated within werewolf lore. Then we've got the birth of a new member. You know, we're talking like someone having a kid and you want to honour that and bless them, and everybody wants to welcome them into the world. Then we've got werewolf pack rite for farewell if someone wants to say goodbye. We've also got a death rite for if someone dies. And then we've got pack protection and banishing rites. So werewolf spell to renew vitality. The fire rite of the warrior werewolf. So that's obviously a protection ritual. Lunar eclipse pack purification. Pack magic healing. So giving your energy to another pack member. Doing healing work. Then we've got, what else have we got? We've got Lupercalia and practicing and celebrating that as a pack. Lupercalia is one of my favourite events of the year. I actually honour and celebrate that every year. Then we've got Winter Werewolf Prowl Parade. Raising Wildness Earth Healing. And then we've got our conclusion, and then we've got some old rights that were included in his first book, but they've been expanded upon here. So we've got Up Growl for Banishing. We've got the revised and expanded version of the Praxis Shifting Right, which was in his first book. We've got the Pack Blessing Right for Talismans and Ritual Tools as well. And then we have expanded werewolf magic symbols and oracles. So this is where he gives you the symbols that were contained in his first book, adds a few new symbols to this as well, goes into greater detail of what they mean and represent, and gives you an oracle meaning for them as well. And then shows you kind of how to make them and turn them into an oracle deck to use with your pack. So that is kind of everything to expect in this book. Now for the positives and what I thought. This book does effectively teach you how to work magic in a group, aka a pack. It has some fantastic rites and ceremonies to try, which were extremely enjoyable. Denny teaches about pack dynamics and how to manage conflict, disagreements, and pack politics. I thought that was really important and insightful. He also provides pack bonding exercises with some great games and activities that I thought were wonderful for performing if you were just a family, or, you know, if you were just having a party. Denny discusses ancient werewolf cults, old rituals, celebrations and rites that were originally traditionally used in various different cults around the world. So he's kind of giving those old ancient rites and ceremonies a new lease of life by putting them in his book and encouraging you to give them a go in a group setting. And I personally really liked that, and there was loads of stuff that I didn't even realise was a thing, to be honest. I particularly enjoyed the section in this book about Lupercalia and the deities honoured at that time. That was really fascinating and interesting. He went into way more detail in this book than he did in his first, so I'm assuming he did further research and discovered more information. I was surprised that Hecate wasn't mentioned for some of the rites in this book, and to be honest, she has a title, an epithet, that is translated as she-wolf, and Hecate wasn't covered as a deity on her own for that aspect of her, and I think she deserved a section in this book personally. And I was, like I said, just a little bit surprised that he didn't go into more detail about her. He just included her as one of the moon goddesses, which is what he did in his first book. Now for the negatives. Denny provides symbols to use for divination purposes as an oracle, but I felt that this would have been better as an actual oracle deck printed and produced that you could buy alongside this book, rather than just symbols at the back of the book. Some of the meanings as well could have been slightly better, with more information that focused more on fortune telling and divination. So the messages were just a little bit generic and not particularly very great. And I think that some people that struggle with divination or are not very good with tarot and oracle may find it difficult to decipher some of the messages and interpretations that Denny gave. So more information there would have been nice, maybe more structure on how to use the oracle, some examples, and maybe even just some sheets or cards at the back of the book that you could pull out and that you could photocopy and turn into an oracle yourself if he didn't want to give you a full oracle deck. But in the future, I would like to see a full werewolf or wolf themed deck from Denny that you could use for your practice. Denny also mentions werewolf packs and communities, but doesn't provide enough information on where to find those communities and groups and how to join them, other than his own Facebook group. So although there's a repeated mention throughout this book about connecting with the community, finding packs and people who are like-minded, there actually isn't many source materials given on where to go for that, except just his group on Facebook. And you could just join his group, but I think going the extra mile and giving more places to go would have been a nice touch. Some of the suggestions in the book may not be possible depending on where you live, which Denny does say. However, I noticed a lot of suggestions for skinny dipping, nudity, frolicking in nature that many may be uncomfortable with doing or just simply may not be able to do. Also, in some countries, this may be highly illegal, so please check the laws in your country. And again, Denny does say that, you know, use common sense, check the laws. But for me, if you're going to be encouraging, you know, like nudity and, you know, especially nudity around other people, because remember that this book in particular is about working within a pack structure with other people, so it does mean you're going to be getting naked around complete strangers. So please use your discernment. If you're uncomfortable, don't do it. Maybe wear a bathing suit or something underneath your loose clothing, so if you do jump in a lake anywhere, you won't feel so embarrassed and you are covered up, and just don't do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable. But a lot of the stuff in this book was really interesting, but it would only be interesting to somebody that wants to work with other shapeshifters and werewolves. Anyone who's practiced werewolf magic from his first book may be open to connecting. So if you guys want to start a chat about this on my platform, very happy to do so. I think it'd be very interesting to meet some others who have read his first book that are interested in this one, that would like to connect. And if I track down any resources and find any groups, I will link them on the video, so you can find that in the description, guys. So that concludes my review. In all honesty, I think this book is probably for a slightly more experienced practitioner, somebody that's navigated being in a coven before maybe and understands the politics and dynamics of that and how to perform a ritual with other people. If you're not likely to do that and you prefer being solitary, this really isn't the book for you, and I don't recommend buying it. And overall, although a lot of the things in this book is adaptable and you could do them on your own, you will be making a lot of changes, and there will still be things in this book that you just won't be able to do unless there's other people present. So for that reason, I scored this book an 8 out of 10. It's still good, however, it just wasn't as good as his first book in my opinion, and I just preferred the solitary approach in his first one, and I would love a second book that follows on from that with even more werewolf activities, spells and rituals, and just more things that you can do, and taking the werewolf magic to the next level. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, click the bell, and YouTube will tell you when my next video comes out. If you'd like to offer like, love and support to my channel, you can do that through my Amazon wishlist or through my PayPal link. And thank you so much to anyone who chooses to support me. I do appreciate it. And if you'd like to get in touch with me, ask me any questions or book any of my magical services, you can do that through Facebook, Instagram, X, Tumblr, or via email, and all the links are there, guys. Thank you so much for supporting me and watching this video to the end. I do appreciate it. Bye for now. Blessed be.